Hi everybody, welcome to the Good Woo. This is your weekly woo. The cards were flying this week. We have 3 totems: Weasel, Wild Boar, and Beaver, and Fern for our plant ally. I would like to start with Beaver. Beaver is the doer, the builder. It alerts us to the question, are you working well in a team? Is there anyone in your team, be that your family or your colleagues, that you need to make amends with? It also signals us that there are some projects in our life that may be unfinished, that we need to move towards finishing and completing. Now, this is interesting because Mercury goes direct today. Mercury has been retrograde for the last 3 weeks in the sign of Cancer, which is all about home and nurturing and family and how we parent ourselves. So it's a signal. Is there unfinished business here? Then we have Wild Boar. Wild Boar, its key word is confrontation. So there could be some issues that come up around teamwork and confrontation. You may need to confront somebody if your boundaries are stepped on. You may be confronted if you're not pulling your weight. It's definitely, with all of this Mars energy working in the sign of Aries, there's an impetus, assertiveness, a movement forward that we're all wanting that can sometimes feel like urgency. And this could lead people to be a little boorish. Then we also got Weasel. Now, Weasel is all about stealth and discretion. So when I see it with these other animals, it says to me, this unfinished business that you may need to take action on could also be something that you may need to be quiet about. Now, Weasel is awesome because in, say, teamwork like this, if you're working in a team, Weasel, this energy is incredible because you can see what the competition's doing. You can see what your opponent is doing. You size them up. You know exactly what's happening. You can see through any sort of lies or deceit. Now, this is like what we may see in our outward world. We may have to deal with some confrontation. Some secrets may come up. We might find out that we've been lied to, or people may find out that we've been lying. And we may have to start rebuilding some relationships because of the truth coming out, because of the confrontation and authenticity coming out. Then we may have to rebuild the structure of that relationship or whatever may be being confronted. But if we take this another direction, which will also be accurate, is that we may need to be confronting some of our fears this week. Confronting our fears around what we want to build in our world, the new world we want to build, and maybe some fears about truly being seen for who we are. Hidden gifts, hidden talents that are starting to emerge after all of this eclipse energy and all of this, with Mars heating it all up. And yet there may be some fears as to how to start this new path or this new career or this new relationship. Boar says confront your fears first. Don't start anything with fear as your central motivator. And don't go into any sort of confrontation with fear in your heart. So it really asks us to release anxiety and fear this week so that you can see clearly. Now, Weasel and these cards together, this also talks about the question of, are you congruent? Is your energy congruent with your intention? For instance, if you're wanting to lose weight and this is a goal that you have, but you're eating like crap and you're not exercising, and that's an incongruency, right? It's like, are your actions aligned with your values? Now, Venus having been in retrograde and, Mercury been in retrograde, it's really clear to us now what we do want for ourselves, but we may be afraid to push through it and build it. And Boar says, do whatever it takes to crush procrastination. So working with fear, really the opposite of fear, a lot of people say is love, but when it comes to the vibration, it's really about trust. If you trust yourself to build the future that you see, the vision that you're holding in your heart, then the fear is going to begin to dissipate. Trust is so important. And when Weasel coming up at this too, it's like, do you trust yourself? Do you trust that what you're seeing is the truth? Can you see through people's projections? Can you see through any like gaslighting or manipulations or coercions? Because you better believe this week, people are gonna see through yours. So then what we also got, Fern. I love this plant. Something really cool to do is to Google Fern time lapse, and you can see like ferns unfurl. And they don't have seeds, they have spores, right? They carry their seeds on their back. And this fern is one of the oldest plants of all time. And its key word, its symbolism is growth. So this week, we are going to be growing. Now, we are either going to be forced to grow, right, with this energy of like bore and then building. We're going to be forced to confront and build and confront these secrets and this hidden whatever, or we are going to take that leap and be doing it ourselves. So that's the thing about why I love working with astrology and intuition like this, because there are certain things we can't control, and I call them node points, kind of like we could call it destiny in our life. Lessons that we're always going to have to be learned. But there's like a scale. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being worst case scenario of how that lesson's learned, 10 being easiest, best, most awesome, prosperous, fun, blissful way that lesson can be learned. And each lesson we may be learning, we're on a different part of that scale. I don't know about you guys, but my goal is I want that 10 at every lesson so that the lessons are coming easily, digestibly, without chaos. That takes a lot of work to get to that place though. And I think that this week, the question we can ask whenever it gets heated, or we're having to confront, or we're being confronted, or we're come up against secrets and truth is revealed, and how do we rebuild after all of this? The question to ask is, how is this to make me grow? How can I grow because of this? How can I grow through this? How can I grow this relationship despite that we're in the middle of a confrontation and secrets are being unearthed? And also when it comes to like business, to rebuild the business, to grow the career, to confront the fears of, what's going to happen with all this, crazy change in the world. Am I still going to be able to make it? Grow, grow, grow is the answer. How is this making me grow? How do I need to think out of the box? Who's going to be my teammates? Who are my coworkers? That's what we need to be looking at. And this idea of relationships being the hotbed of growth, because we're mirroring each other, whether that's a lover or a child or a parent or a friend or a coworker. So a lot's going to be revealed this week. As Mercury goes direct, communication is going to start clearing up, and you may have to clear up some hidden information, and you may have to confront some boundaries being broken, to rebuild them, to reset the boundaries, to reset what is truth in this relationship, what is honesty, and most important, to really, for yourself, to push it. How authentic can you be? How much integrity can you bring to each conversation you have, to each text you send, to each email you reply to? Where is the growth here? Now, this may sound selfish, but when things are as chaotic as they are, and there's, one place to grab when things get hot. It's, what is the lesson here? How is this supposed to make me grow? Instead of, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Or, oh my God, this person, oh my God. Where's the lesson? How is this making me grow? That's what to hold on to this week. And whenever we get weasel, it's be transparent with what you say and do. Because more and more, as the vibration of the entire planet raises, as humanity evolves, which we know now, this evolution we're in now, it's an emotional, spiritual evolution. That telepathy, that ability to sense what someone else is feeling, we're all empaths, and that gift is growing and growing and growing. Especially during times of crisis and chaos, these are when these gifts really start burgeoning. And in fact, maybe that's why these things happen. So that, right? So that we grow. Impeccable with the word. Because your word is what is building your world. So many sacred texts begin with that truth. So you guys, thank you so much for viewing. Thank you for your likes and your subscriptions. Thank you so much for the thank you donations. I so appreciate it. And we have got a juicy extended weekly woo for you on patreon.com/thegoodwoo. Now these cards, just a preview, for those of you who aren't members yet, what this looks to me like is we may be confronting past issues in romantic relationships, like past heartache, past betrayal, and transmuting that into fuel forward. So if you want to join me for this next part of the reading, please do, because I'm going to get deep into it. There is definitely some good stuff coming up this week if we use it to grow, and not to blame anyone else, not to pass judgment on anyone else. Just ask the simple question: how is this supposed to make me grow? And then hold on to that with your soul. Thanks so much for viewing, everybody.